It's a beautiful day to you, our lovely and smart real estate investors, whether you're abroad or you are in Nigeria. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time zone at which you're seeing this video from. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, this is Property Matters, and I'm Adejari. Property Matter is a real estate YouTube talk show where we examine and, of course, expose you to the present, future, and, of course, past, realities of real estate activities here in Lagos, Nigeria. On Property Matter, we've done an extensive video on how to identify a fraudulent real estate developer. We've even went as far as to talk about how you can do a thorough due diligence all by yourself. We've also talked about the present realities of the Lagos State real estate market. We've talked about Epe, we've talked about Ibejulek, we've talked about Shogutedo, we've talked about Shortlet, we've talked about Off Plan, we've talked about so many exciting and, of course, insightful topics here on Property Matters. So at your leisure time, you can do well to check some of our previous playlists, and I can assure you that you're going to find value. In case you're coming across a video like this for the first time, they said a good one deserves another. Support us by subscribing to this channel, by turning on the notification, so that when we drop a video, a very important personality like you will certainly be the first person to see it. Like I said, Property Matter is a YouTube real estate talk show that comes your way twice every week. I'll be back immediately after this short timeout. Before I go, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, turn on the notification bell, invite your friends and family to do so, encourage us by subscribing, and, of course, drop your comment. You are free to consult us for any form of real estate matters, whether you bought from somebody else or you're on the verge of buying or you have any concerns. Of course, our contact is below. Those contacts obviously are WhatsApp enabled. You can send us a WhatsApp message, and, of course, if you want to do a direct call, we are available. So I'll be back immediately after this short timeout. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. If you're not going to take massive action after seeing this video is certainly not for you. Today, I bring you the best property in the best location with the best price and also with the best title. You can now own a sea of old land. Yes, a sea of old land in the heart of Lekki Phase 1. This property is on Freedom Way by Admiralty Axis. We brought this fantastic property to the market just a few weeks ago, and over 150 plots have been sold at an introductory price. And now we have just few plots available. The most important thing you consider when you're buying properties, number one, is the title document and also the location. Location plays a key role. And the reason why location plays a key role is because this property is just 15 minutes away from Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and Banana Island. And it's very, very strategic. First of all, the solar panel strikes are some of the features that will be coming in: the pedestrian walkway, the underground drainage system, the recreational center, good roads, and so many more. Now, you can now own this piece of property that is presently selling for 150,000 per square meter, meaning that you can get a 500 square meter for 75 million and a 1,000 square meter for 150 million. Not to worry, we have good payment structures available. So the best time to own your piece of Lekki Phase 1 is now. Remember, the best investment of earth is earth. Own your own portion of Lekki Phase 1 today and be among the credible and the best gainers of the Lagos State real estate market. So for more information on how you can, acquire your plot of land, you can contact the number below the caption of this video. Remember, this is the best time to own your own portion of Lekki Phase 1, and you will thank us for bringing you this opportunity. For more information about this property inspection and sales, give us a call on the number. Have a nice day. Bye. All right, you're welcome back. I'm super delighted to be on your screen. It's a privilege, it's an honor. Thank you very much for taking out time to view our videos. Thank you for picking up information. Thank you for learning from what we're doing. We appreciate that, and we don't take the time you spend in watching our videos for granted. Thank you. But of course, like I said, do well to subscribe, turn on the notification bell. So for my Nigerian brothers, thank you. For our fathers, mother, brothers, and sisters, whether you're in Nigeria or diaspora, thank you for creating time to view Property Matters. So today we're going to talk about something that is very, very important, something that's been in the mind of several real estate investors. And today I'm going to be talking about how to unravel unnecessary real estate investments. How to unravel unnecessary real estate investment. What exactly do I mean by unnecessary real estate investment? A lot of people will agree, will be kind of thinking, what exactly is Adejare talking about? Is it coming online to say that some investment they've done are unnecessary? Well, if you watch this video to the end, if you stay to the end of this video, you will understand what I meant by unnecessary real estate investment. Now, in the Lagos State real estate market, you need to understand that when you're buying properties, you need to look beyond the ad, the hype, the noise, everything. In fact, you even need to look above some of the things you have been told, and you need to go to the core, which is your intention for buying. In most cases, because of the fact that we have desperation in Nigeria, a lot of people are trying to meet targets. A whole lot of people are desperate to make ends meet. So, in the process of doing that, you have been convinced, some real estate investors have been convinced to buy a property that may not be useful to them 1 year, 2 years, or even 3 years after purchase, which is very, very sad. And one of the reasons why I've decided to do this basically is due to the fact that we need to, hit the nail on the head and, of course, call a spade a spade. What exactly do I mean by that? Over time, I've realized that a whole lot of real estate investors, more importantly, those in diaspora, are in high regret for purchasing some properties. I hope people have said, I've had different assertions that real estate is the best investment. Real estate is obviously the way, to safeguard your old age. Real estate obviously can be like a plan B. Real estate investment, yes, can also serve as a good retirement plan. Okay, and that is why people, most of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, and of course the ones in diaspora, are working day and night. Okay, and they are trying to pull funds together, buy properties, and of course with anticipation that after several years in Europe or after several years in service, I can have a place where I can what call my own, and of course I can have something that will generate income for me for as long as I have it, and for as long as I utilize and maximize, the economic importance of such properties. These most times is always the expectations of several real estate investors, but we found out recently that such expectations have been dashed. Some expectation has not even been met, and this is why we're going to be talking about how to unravel, okay, unnecessary property investment. I will starting this by giving instances of some of how the real estate investment, when I joined the industry far back in 2018, there were instances whereby we used to go to places like Odiomi, the Foluise, the Ikegun. We've even gone as far as, of course, inner Ogun State. Ogun State was a site to buy properties. Now, in some cases, the way this investment is being pitched to real estate investors is not always what many of them anticipate to be. Last year, I met a dear real estate investor who had the intention of starting a building project. Surprisingly and unfortunately for these real estate investor, the inexperienced realtor advised that woman to buy Odiomi. For an investor who is looking forward to, buy a property and is looking forward to, start living in that place, and as biased and as selfish as you are, you went as far as recommending Odiomi, which obviously is a land banking. Now, the reality here is that Odiomi is not in the next 3 years. Odiomi is not in the next 5 years. Odiomi is a long-term land banking plan. So if you're buying Odiomi, just know that you're doing a good land banking system. Now, this is just a case, and I believe that there are several cases. Now we're going to be talking about this, this topic in different phases, and we'll be able to examine the importance of how to unravel unnecessary real estate investment. As a real estate investor, when you are buying properties, you need to emphasize on your purpose of purchase. If your purpose of purchase is not clearly articulated and properly understood and comprehensively put into action, you will be misled. There was a case of a real estate investor I was speaking with. She's also in the diaspora. Of course, I usually have a lot of conversation with whether you are my client or not, in as much as fact that we are able to find common ground for interaction. I interact with you, and of course I begin to know some of the things. Now the regret basically this one was having basically was that she was made to buy a property for 25 million naira, and it's been 4 years after she bought that property. Until now, a property of 25 million naira does not have, there's nothing going on. There is no building, there is no activities. And when they started marketing this property, L was almost set loose because there were a lot of noises, there were a lot of hypes, a lot of people were celebrating, a lot of people were, there were a lot of jingles. And if you are not well, if you are not well accustomed to the way real estate is being practiced in Nigeria, you will be swayed by those popularities and those jingles. So this woman thought basically that 25 million naira is a property. Of course, it has to be a buy and build. I can start building, I can give it out for rent. But surprisingly, it's been 4 years after that investment, nothing is happening on the property. So you see, in as much as fact that the property is expensive, it was obviously an unnecessary real estate investment because that property cannot serve that purpose which she anticipated that it will. That's case number one. Then case number two basically is that I've also been to locations basically that properties are being sold in millions. I know axis where properties are sold for 30 million, properties are sold for 25, 30, 15 million. And there are axes that they can also fit into that perfect description of a what? A land banking system. Now, why do real estate investors buy properties and what they buy does not meet their expectation? Number one, overhyping. In most cases, an investor has intention of building, an investor has intention of starting a commercial properties, and because of the fact that the developer that is selling does not have the intention of putting all those facilities, okay, that will make the investor to achieve a purpose or his or her purpose of purchase, because of the fact that the developer is not ready, that property, regardless of the price or the location, will forever remain a land banking scheme until such facilities have been put in place. There is this impression that if you want to go do land banking, you go to Ibejuleki, you go to Espe. But there are some places on this our island at Shongotedo, at Abijo. So land banking right now is not a thing of distance anymore. It's a thing of what? The willingness of the real estate developer to make that place habitable for their investors. So as a real estate investor, you need to understand that if you're buying properties in Lagos, Nigeria, you need to have a clear form of what? Agreement with the developer. Else, regardless of your 20 million, regardless of your 30 million, regardless of even your 50 million, you may find out that despite spending that huge amount of money, you may still be going into what? A land banking system. So it doesn't have to be Ijebode, Ekpe, or other interior part of Ibejuleki. Now you need to understand basically that if your purpose for purchase, okay, does not meet the present property that is being pitched to you, you don't have to be apologetic and considerate to a realtor. You have to articulate it. Then number two, one of the reasons why real estate investors fall prey into buying properties that are unnecessary. Now, when I say it's unnecessary, that means that such properties cannot meet their immediate need. It cannot fulfill that immediate intention of buying. It's because of the fact that most real estate investors are looking for cheap properties. What exactly do I mean by looking for cheap properties? I'm going to quickly explain some things to you so that you can understand. Now, realistically, the real estate industry or the real estate environment that most real estate investors are familiar with 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago are not the same presently. You need to understand that gone are those days where you will have an opportunity to buy a full plot of land at Aja for 25 million. Those days are gone. You can't find them. You need to understand that buying a buy and build in Chongotedo, you can't get them for 15 million. Those days are gone. Even Abijo, you can't even get a buy and build for 15, 20 million. But most real estate investors will say, I bought it several years ago. I know somebody that is buying several years ago. So the intention of going for cheap properties make real estate investor to buy properties that may not fulfill their intention of purchase. So dear real estate investor, you need to stop going for cheap lands. Now, the reason why some of these realtors make proposition of cheap properties is because of the fact that they don't want to lose out. They have shown you several properties, you're saying it's beyond your budget. This is your budget, this is what you want, and your willingness to upgrade that budget will make them take you to invest in places that you may not need. So you need to understand that presently in Lagos right now, if you're looking for a buy and build, the maximum you can see from Aja, from the conferences, from the confines of Aja down to Shangutedo, presently right now is above 30 million. So if you want to buy a property that you can build, you can get rental income, you must be ready to do what? To upgrade your budget. That's just the truth. Except if you want to go into land banking system, which most times will be the last resort that the realtor will recommend to you because of your unwillingness to upgrade your budget. That's number two. Then number three, now let me explain the fact that most real estate developers that are not developing such sites. What do I mean by that? In most cases, I've seen instances whereby real estate companies are just selling lands. Okay, some, not all. I don't want to be misquoted. Some real estate companies, a lot of them that I've seen, are just selling lands, okay, and they don't have intention of erecting buildings to sell. Now, when a developer is selling land, the tendency to develop that place to your satisfaction is very slim. When a developer does not have the intention of doing any project on the property that is being marketed to you, the tendency for them to put in the right infrastructures are very slim. So in most cases, I do advise that if you want a buy and build, if you want to buy a property whereby you start getting rental income 1 year, 2 years after purchase, my dear real estate investor, go to places where the developer is also erecting structures. I've seen places whereby they've done basketball courts, they've done lawn tennis courts, they've done all these normal something sports courts, and nothing is happening. So in most cases, when the developer does not have the intention of personally developing that place, erecting structure to sell, the tendency is slow. I'm not saying that all lands will not be developed, but in most cases, when a developer is selling land, if the developer is just trying to use that fund, that property to raise funds and start another project, the tendency of putting that electricity, good road, drainages, and something is slim. And that's why when you find out that in some places where properties have been sold, even last year, this present last year, a lot of them have been abandoned. Nothing is going on. So in most cases, you have to run after the company to do the road, to do this, to do this. So if the company does not have the intention of developing, the tendency that they will do that place to be habitable 1 and 2 years after purchase is slim. The number three, the next thing a real estate investor needs to look out for to avoid buying unnecessary properties is the noise and the jingle. Now, people make unnecessary attractions. People go as far as making a property or a site, I'll say, desirable for you. And you need to understand that in a place whereby the company does not have the capability to develop, and they're telling you they're putting this, they're putting this, when they put all those things in their advertisement jingles and their drones, those places look very, very what attractive to you, right? You want to jump at it, and 1 year after purchase, it's in stories, no allocation, no development. So one of the reasons why people buy unnecessary properties is because they get easily swayed by oratory, jingles, and the like. You need to look beyond that. Profiling. How many estates has this guy done this year? How many has it delivered? How many is he on the verge of delivering? What is his idea of development? What are the years of experience? The ones he have developed, has he successfully developed one to a point, okay, where you can say people are giving good recommendations, and sometimes too, people are paid to give false testimonial. So you need to work with a professional like us. Recently, I was working on site for another dear real estate investor who is also. I told the man, sir, wherever you are across the world, don't worry, we will do our job. I went into investigation. Then after one or two things, I made my recommendation. And the man said, "You're a thorough professional. I wish I knew somebody like you. I wouldn't have made some unnecessary, investment I did." The man bought a lot of properties for millions of naira. Until date, that place is not habitable. So please look beyond those things and go into the core. In fact, wherever you are, you can even, go online and check, the project these guys have done successfully. You can even read certain reviews. You can speak with us. You can engage us. You can, I was speaking with also a real estate, investor who has bought a property since 2021 and they have not delivered. This is 2023. And the tendency that they will deliver it in this 2023 is sleep. Now, there are several factors that happens. There are several things that, of course, I cannot have time to explain. But this is why that when you are doing a real estate investor, if you want to avoid unnecessary form of what purchase, a purchase that you will buy 1 year you are not seeing anything, 2 years you are not seeing anything, 3 years you are not, they promise you heaven and earth. This is the fourth year. They're not even talking of allocation, not to talk of delivery. So one of the ways you can avoid that is to work with a realtor, a professional that is not in any way affiliated to this company. Because sometimes people who have close contact with these people may, because of what they want to benefit, avoid telling you the truth. This is the reality. You need to understand that. So, because the industry right now has metamorphosed to a stage whereby we have every Tom, Dick, and Harry. So, everybody come online, portray themselves as professional. But after some series of interaction, you find out that they don't even have adequate knowledge on how this industry works. So, you need to understand that looking beyond the jingles is one of the easiest way that you won't fall into the trap of buying unnecessary type properties. Then number two, one of the things you need to understand is that if you are buying from a company that does not have the intent, every time I come online to explain some of these things, I'm always talking about documentation. I'm always talking about documentation. I'm always talking about documentation. And many people think, Kiniti, what is your own? Why is it always? Because I know what is coming. I know what Lagos State, the strings they will pull. We understand the industry, we understand the pros and the cons, we understand the investors, we understand the developer, we understand the policies government is bringing. So when we are making recommendations, we are making recommendations based on our holistic understanding of how the industry operates. So sometimes we can look at a property, we can give you a dissection of what is coming 2 years from today. We can tell you what you should expect 3 years from today. We can tell you government policies. We can tell you how you can adequately prepare so that when government starts enacting policies, you will not be affected. This is the gross importance of having a professional handling your transaction. We've done a lot of due diligence. All through last week, I was at Lekki Phase 1 doing land verification. After I left Ekpe, I went to other places of Shongotedo doing land verification. A client I met recently wanted to buy acres of land. We drove down to Ekpe, inside the water, picking coordinates, verifying the status of a land before it's being bought. We understand this. And that's why we always come online to tell you that before you go into any form of real estate investment with any company, ask the developer, what are your plans? Are you buying, just doing fencing and waiting for that place to open up before we can start building? Okay, you want to provide electricity. What is the duration for this provision of electricity? How soon are you putting all these things in place? You are doing a road. What is duration for this road? When should we be expecting a fully serviced environment, if that is what is being done? These are the crucial questions that you need to ask. So this is where I'm going to draw the curtain of today's episode of Property Matters. I hope you found value. Thank you very much. Do well to subscribe in case you have any inquiries and comments and everything. Of course, our numbers are below the caption of this video. You are free to drop your inquiries and you'll be glad you are working with us. Have a nice day. God bless you. Bye.